Jeff Graham here from the 6 Months of Christmas podcast, and I am sitting with one of my favorite Christmas podcasters, Brian Earl. Brian, first of all, how's your Christmas con going?
Oh, fantastic so far. I mean, I sort of came into it kind of knowing what to expect, and then of course you come into it and there's always some new surprises, so it's just been wonderful, a little overwhelming, but overall just absolutely fantastic.
I think my favorite part is finally feeling like I'm being seen by my people. I don't know if you feel that way too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is where you come to be with your tribe, and you know, there's no tighter tribe than the Hallmark Channel crowd. So you come here and you see everyone with their outfits on and people coming to meet their favorite celebrities, and it's just so surprising to me that no one's thought of this before. This is the first annual Christmas con, and most certainly the first of many to come, but it's just such a genius idea that it just sort of had to happen at some point, so I'm glad it did now.
Totally. So I'm a huge fan of your show. For anyone of our listeners who haven't listened to Christmas Past, how would you describe it?
It has been described as Freakonomics meets Christmas, and I kind of like that description because I take Christmas traditions and give them the NPR treatment, sort of take this nerdy deep dive into the backstory, talking to experts on the subject, but producing it in a way that really focuses on storytelling so that you learn something, but you have fun learning it too. And then we talk to just people who are listeners, they'll share their Christmas memories, so there's a nice sentimental aspect to it as well.
I'm a big, This American Life, Ira Glass guy, and I kind of sense some of that flavor in your show, I would say.
Yeah, I think overall that's kind of the tone and pace that I'm going for, and the extent to which it sounds like that is the extent to which I've gotten lucky, I suppose. And I think, you know, as you work through, you kind of aim for one thing and it ends up, you know, sort of hitting the mark to some point, right? And then eventually you just sort of find your own voice. So I think 4 years in now, I think I've nailed it. I figured out what the show's about, who it's for, how it sounds, and yeah, we keep going from there.
When you look back on your catalog, are there any shows in particular that you are especially proud of?
Well, the very first episode I did was a series of 3 episodes on the history of how St. Nicholas became Santa Claus. And it was, there's like one story that I told over 3 episodes, and I was proud of it and really interested to do it because I learned a lot of stuff. And that's one of the best things about having this podcast is I'm constantly learning things I didn't know before. But yeah, overall, it just felt like it all kind of held together nicely. The one thing I'm probably most proud of is the Christmas True Crime series that I have coming out on Thanksgiving Day this year. It's called My Dear Santa, a True Crime Christmas Caper, and it's a 6-part series. All episodes drop on Thanksgiving, and it's this piece of Christmas history that most people have never heard before, but I'm hoping to change that because it's a real doozy of a story. Brian?
If I had to find the Venn diagram of my 2 favorite things, it would be Christmas right here and true crime right here. I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't wait. And the good news is for you too. I've heard that true crime is popular among podcasters. I don't know if you've heard that as well.
Yeah, once or twice maybe.
Okay, great. Well, I can't wait for that. What's the name of that series?
My Dear Santa. It's actually under the normal Christmas Past podcast feed. It's just a special miniseries with its own name.
Oh, I'm obsessed. I can't wait to hear it. Anyone that you've gotten to meet through the podcast that you're particularly excited about?
I've had on some really interesting guests, people who are just experts in their field. I got a chance to meet Alonzo Duralde a couple times. He's been on the show many times. I got to interview the man who played Flick in A Christmas Story. And that was really, really cool. We were talking about that whole scene where he sticks his tongue to the pole and all of that. And really, the people I'm really most excited to hear from are the listeners who share their Christmas memories. I just get this little window into people's Christmas traditions that is just really, really heartwarming.
Yeah, that's been the interesting thing, just working in podcasting for so long, is it does feel like this elevated sense of intimacy with your audience. What has that been like, just to sort of, open yourself up to this whole new community of people who love this as much as you do?
I mean, generally speaking, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I think what it's done is validated this concept that I'm not the only one who's as obsessed with Christmas. I mean, you sort of get that sense, but then when the people are actually writing to you or, just wanting to connect, it feels like honestly, it feels like I'm expanding my family in some way. We have a Christmas Past Facebook group right now where people are just engaged all year round, and it's just so heartwarming. And then sometimes, people will send me their Christmas memories, and, it's really clear that, they're having a little bit of a rough time, that Christmas might be a little lonely for them this year. And it really brings it home that this is more than just a show about Christmas. I think people, I sort of feel like maybe I have a little bit of a responsibility to some people to just sort of make their Christmas that much more merry and bright to whatever small extent I can through the podcast.
Very well said. All right, last thing. Some of our viewers will be watching this, but some will be listening on our podcast feed. If you had 3 words to describe the way Christmas Con looks and feels, what would you say?
Okay, well, enchanting for sure, overwhelming, and just joyful, overall joyful. Everyone's walking around with these big smiles plastered on their faces, eyes wide, mouths open. You can't take it all in. You look at everything and you say, I can't believe I'm actually standing in the middle of all this right now.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Brian. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Christmas Past is a great show. Make sure you check it out.